I swore to myself that when I started making these like writing vlogs that I was going to document every little thing. I swear that's what I thought I was gonna do. But once that full request hit my inbox, I was done. I was out, I was thrown, I was seated. I was not prepared at all for the feelings and the intensity and the waiting and the anxiety. I was not prepared. I cried, and then I got my shit together and I sent that full request. And every single day I was like, I should update the vlog. I should say something. I should say, hey, I got a full request. This is really great news. And I didn't, and I never did. And I waited so long, and it seemed like everything was writing on it. Like, it seemed like everything was coming down to this, even though I knew in the back of my mind that the odds of getting the first and only agent who asked for a full request was like nutso. Like, that is so statistically improbable. It didn't keep me from thinking maybe, like, already it seems impossible to have gotten a full request, but I got one, so maybe it's not impossible that I get an agent out of this. And then when the rejection came, I cried myself to sleep. I thought maybe this book is never gonna go anywhere. And my most recent math, hi baby. According to my most recent math, I've sent 157 queries. I've got 45 rejections and one full request that then turned into a rejection. And the worst part of it all is that I didn't get any feedback. She just said no thanks, basically. And I respect that they are very busy people and they don't have a lot of time, and it is not their job to tell writers what they did or didn't like about their book, what made them stop reading, what made them put it down. But like, that was the closest I have ever been to a publishing professional. So it would have been nice to even get like, I didn't like your female character, I am not child free and I don't care. Like, it would have been nice to get something along those lines, just so I know what direction it's going, because right now, and especially since that rejection, what I've been struggling with the most in my writing and has kind of killed my momentum on Booktube is, am I even a good writer? Is this even a good book? I have no idea, because the only people who have read it are my family and my friends and my husband and my mom, who think, of course, that I'm a good writer. I have had nobody read it who objectively has not been around for the whole process. So the problem there is, I don't really even know if it's true, if they're just blowing smoke up my ass. And obviously, Nick was like, if it really wasn't that good, I would have suggested to you more strongly that maybe you start looking for another job harder. And I trust him on that. I think he would do something like that. He would say it politely but firmly. He's just that kind of a person. But yeah, that killed the forward momentum I had on book 2. I have a beginning and an end in mind, but really I am just weaving my way in the middle there. So I'm here now to say I have ridden the highest highs and the lowest lows of this experience so far, I think. And it did throw me for a loop, and I took a little break, and now I'm back. So I'm here to just take you with me and update you when things happen or when I have something to say. And I was doing weekly reading vlogs, but really I think that a lot of the times, day to day, not much changes. Like, these are like small things on the daily that build up to bigger things. So I think I'm only gonna come in here and pop in here and say something when things happen. Like, I've skipped out on a month of viewing any of this, and I had a full request and then waited 3 weeks and then got a rejection, and then maybe decided to quit writing, and then came back and got a manicure just to feel something. So yeah, welcome back to the writing vlog. I've been meaning to update you for a couple days, but I've been very busy because I went to the Women in Publishing Summit 2025. This is basically like, their name is Women in Publishing, and every year for the last 5 years they've had this really big summit conference thing in March, and I went this year, and they put out this like really super detailed calendar. So basically there were like 4 different times a day that they had hour-long like informational sessions. Like I went to Fail Smarter, The Secret to Creative Resilience, and I went to Strategies for Writing Dialogue that Drives Plot and Deepens Characters, and I went to Beyond Courses, Crafting Immersive Learning Experiences with Digital Workbooks, and I went to BookBub Basics for Authors, Boost Your Platform with Lit Ring. And then they had like 3 networking or coffee chats a day where you got in a Zoom room and then they just broke you out into smaller rooms with like random people. You like introduced yourself and like got to know each other. And then they had like 1 hour a day where they had like a sponsor talk basically. And I bought the workbook. They had it available on Amazon, and it has a spot for like every single talk they had. It has a spot for you to like write notes, and all of the sessions were recorded and you have access to them until the end of 2025. So like theoretically I could go through, watch every one of them, and have a place to take notes dedicated for like every one of them. So that's kind of my plan, is to watch any of them that are relative to me. They had like a general section, like a general vibe for some of them, and then they had like professional level and then advanced. So I learned really a lot. I met some nice people. I heard what everybody had to say. And here's the thing about something like this, is that a lot of the people who are there are like 50% of them were maybe like authors, and then the other 50%, regardless of whether or not they were sponsors of it, were people who provided like author services. And I think that a lot of the people who provide author services are people who went through the traditional route and then left, or they were people who published their own book independently, and then since they knew how to do it and they did it one time, they just started charging money for it. And the hybrid publishers, which I don't know if you're familiar, a hybrid publisher is not a traditional publisher, and it's not you doing everything on your own, but it's kind of in the middle, where they treat you like a traditionally published author, whereas like you have a team and they get you a cover artist and they get you an editor and like all this kind of stuff, except for it's the opposite, because you're paying for it basically. And it's more expensive because not only do they have to pay the people, but they have to make money themselves. So I heard a lot. I heard what everybody had to say about those things. And the hardest part is like you come out of something like this and you're like, how many of these people truly actually think that you need something like a hybrid publisher, or somebody to do XYZ for you, somebody to manage your authorness for you? They have like funny titles like author manager and author coach and stuff like that. Do you really need somebody to do that, or are they just saying that you need that because that's what they do for a living and they need people to work with them? So it was kind of like a lot of it was deciphering what information was like useful and true and based in facts and experiences, and what was basically a sales pitch. And I found that my favorite of the like different sessions, the ones that were my favorite were the people who were not sponsors of it. Like people who didn't have any kind of like skin in the game, I guess you could say. They weren't offering a special discount or anything like that. Like those people who have their own businesses but did not sponsor it, but got a spot to talk and give a session on, those were the ones that I liked the most. And then the other thing that it made me think a lot about is like, what makes somebody the authority on something? Like especially something as fluid and undefined as writing, publishing, books, being an author. Like what makes you someone who should be telling me what is good or bad or not in writing? Like the people who did there was 2 ladies who did a class that was kind of based on like writing skill, like the craft of writing. And I looked at one of their books on Amazon or on Goodreads, and it only had like 12 reviews and it had like a 3.33. And I'm like, okay, so you're here as somebody who has the authority to tell me what good writing is or is not, and you only have a 3.33 on Goodreads, and you only have 12 reviews on Goodreads. So to me it's like, does that really make you the authority on this? Or you know what I mean? So it was a lot of like, where do I take, like kind of, it was like take what you want and leave what you think is like not helpful. I have a lot of these to go through still, because every single time they had a session, there was 4 going on at one time, and like obviously you can only be in one place physically at once. So I have a lot of other ones that I was interested in seeing, or other people said they thought was good, that I need to go back and see. So that's on my list of things to do, but I just wanted to update you because I wanted to update you while I was doing it, but literally every single time I was like, at the end of the day, I was absolutely dead, because like the double combo of not only having to talk to strangers and make small talk, but then also taking in all that information all day long, it literally was like 8 to 5. Just mind-bending, exhausting. I just like collapsed at the end of every day for 4 days straight, and then I had a really busy weekend, and now I'm here to tell you about it. So that took up all my time. There was no writing for 4 days. For like 4.5 days, I just did this and I did no writing. So this was really what it took up. But what did I learn? I learned that I think if I do go the self-publishing route, I'm gonna do it all myself. I think a lot of what people get as benefits of getting like a hybrid publisher or something is like not getting scammed. Like a lot of these like editors and stuff are just scam artists out there, especially on like Upwork and stuff like that. They're all just scammers, and you have to be willing to go through piles and piles of possible scammers and not only find a real person, but also who's good at what they're doing. And I feel like I have the ability to do that. I feel like a lot of the people who were at this conference were older, like probably definitely 40 plus, but maybe even 50 plus, and some of them were definitely in their 60s or 70s, who were not born into the universe and the world of like technology like I was. So I feel like I know enough about technology that I could sniff out a scammer on my own and get everything else done myself and save the money. And like obviously the benefit of doing all of those things yourself is you have total control over it. You get exactly who you want and what you want, and you keep all of your royalties. The downside is you have to front all the money, so it's like the ultimate investment in yourself. And right now I'm having trouble believing that myself as a writer and my book as it exists is worth that. So that is a topic for another day, because I've got to run and I don't really have anything else to say, but I'll be back to check in with you like tomorrow. Guys, I've been having a complete mental breakdown about my book, because, and not even Booktube, which has its own issues right now, mainly the fact that it has a beginning and an end and no middle, and I'm having trouble piecing everything together. But my first book has problems, and I just feel stuck. Like I set out to write this very specific book, and I guess I'm trying to figure out if I wrote the book so specifically that only I am really interested in it, or if I did a bad job writing the book, or if it can be saved, or if it just didn't get into the right hands. Like I was looking for beta readers, but I was looking just for anybody willing to give me the time of day. And maybe that wasn't the right way to go about it. Maybe I should have been looking specifically for people who do not want to have children and feel a similar way as me and feel a similar way as my main character in the book, so that they would have a better sense of connection to the main character. But instead I was just going out and finding whoever would give me some time, because it's a lot to ask somebody to spend 9 hours reading something that's been unpublished for free. It's a lot to ask. And so I just was really concerned that my female main character was unlikable, that I had her doing things that people would disapprove of, or give them a negative view of her, besides the fact that she doesn't want kids. Outside of that, or were they getting a negative view of her for the other things that I was making her do? And like I had a point to it. It was kind of giving like Nesta from Silver Flames, but like a lot of people don't like Nesta. So it's like I don't know, I'm having a hard time. And like this is what I've been struggling with ever since I got that 60th query letter rejection. Ever since I got that full request rejection, this is what I've been struggling with. Does the book need more time? Does it need more help? Does it need an editor? Does it need another round of edits by me? Does it need anything? Or is it objectively not good? Am I objectively not a good writer? That is really what I'm struggling with, because again, now I'm talking about self-publishing, And that is the ultimate betting on yourself. And right now, I just don't feel like I can do that because I don't know if I'm any good. You know what I mean? Like, everybody who read this book before was just my friend or my family, and have they been blowing smoke up my ass? I don't know. So I think it's gonna need another edit, an emotional. I've been calling it, in my mind, I've been calling it an emotional edit. I'm going back through and I am cutting down the dialogue. Anything that says like, well, I did blah, 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 cutting out the well. I'm cutting it down. The dialogue getting tighter. Anywhere where there's emotion, can I extrapolate on it? And the other thing I think I did, looking back, is I think a lot of times I let the female main character get defensive and be like, oh, you just don't understand, like you just don't care, when really I should have pushed those conversations deeper. Like, I feel like it was kind of, I was trying to make her seem like she was standing up for herself, but really they were just not having deep conversations. And so in this edit, I'm going back and I'm adding what I hope to be all those layers of emotion, and hopefully it will make some of her decisions seem more understandable. But if it doesn't, then I have a plan to change it. And the other thing I have an issue with maybe is the conflict of the story. It seems crazy that a sister would do something like that, but not all family is good family. And I feel like without that, I don't really know who the main conflict is in this book, and I don't necessarily want it to continue to be a misunderstanding between them. But part of me is like, maybe it's too harsh what I have the sister do to the female main character in order to separate them when they could just be together at the beginning. So I guess I'm gonna decide on that when I get there in the editing, and we'll see where it goes.
She's spinning.
Oh, okay. I'll come back.
Not only am I only this far into my emotional edit, as I'm calling it, but I have given myself a deadline, and not an arbitrary one, because I found this girl online who beta reads professionally for a very small fee, and I was like, cool, I'll give you $90 to read my whole book in a week. And she said she could do it by the 24th, and I was like, I can totally do it by the 24th, but guess what today is? The 18th. And in 2 days my in-laws get here and they'll be here for the whole weekend, and then it will be Monday. So I'm having to rush through this. I'm just gonna give it my best shot. And I decided that beta readers is what I need after this. Technically then, that makes all my friends and family who read it before alpha readers and not beta readers, because I'm gonna edit it again, get it to beta readers, get it professionally edited, and then get arcs. I'm looking for some more beta readers, and I went to this session in the summit that I was talking about the other day, and they had a whole thing about perfect beta readers, and about how you don't need just beta readers who are willing to read it, but you need beta readers who would be the audience for this book naturally, in a bookstore. And I was like, where am I gonna get those beta readers? Well, the paid one is fine, because her interest in your book is being objective because she's being paid to be objective. And then I was like, where else can I get some? And then I thought about the child-free subreddit on Reddit, and I was like, that is a great place to see if anybody is interested. So I posted a post, and I didn't say I'm looking for beta readers. I said I wrote a book, and then people who commented and said I would love to read it, I asked if I could DM them, and then I got banned from the subreddit. But that's fine, because 4 people said they would be willing to read it, and I got their email addresses, so now I don't need that subreddit. So even though I'm banned, it doesn't matter. And I could always just make a new account and go back if I need to, but I've been trying not to use too much social media anyway, so it's for the best. So yeah, that, and then that. So that right there is 5 beta readers. And then I was at a friend's, well, there's a lot to that. I was at a friend's bridal shower. We went to high school together. It was the first time I had ever introduced myself to somebody that I didn't know and said, I'm an author. It just literally struck me from the air. She was like, hi, I'm the groom's aunt. And I was like, hi, nice to meet you. I went to high school with the bride. And she was like, oh, well, what do you two do? Because I was standing with my other friend from high school. My other friend was like, I'm a molecular biologist. And I was like, yeah, she is. And then I was like, oh, I'm an author. So nice to meet you. And I was like riding complete high that day. And probably the highest of the highs that I've had since getting the rejection from my full request. And then I was sitting at the table and my friend's cousin was sitting at the table and she was like, oh, you're an author? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I have a book club with like 6 other girls. And right now we are in the middle of Throne of Glass, but we might be interested in taking a break from Throne of Glass to read your book in April. And I was like, oh, that's great. So now I'm gonna have this little edit done by the 24th, and I'm gonna give it to all these people at one time. And I'm just gonna get it out there. And I'm gonna let them all read it, and I'm gonna work on my second book while I do that, while it's in their hands. And then when it comes back, I will take in their feedback, and I will also get an editor, because that's what I've decided. I've decided I'm getting an editor. I've gone back and forth 80 million times with just myself, and with Nick, and with my mom. Is my writing good enough? Is this book going anywhere? Does it even matter at this point, or should I give it all up and go try and find whatever freaking job I can get? And I think an editor probably will not only A, be able to help me answer that question, but also B, improve the work overall in general, regardless of the answer. So that's kind of the plan right now. I intended to continue this little vlog, but I have no idea how long this is already because I haven't checked. And like I said, I have so much of this to do in such a short amount of time, and get the house ready for Nick's parents to come visit and then have them be here. So I don't have time to keep filling you in. So I'm gonna end this right here. I appreciate you for watching. I hope you're enjoying these little writing videos. I'm thinking about doing a little vlog where I read books about writing, and then it would be kind of like a combination mishmash of reading vlogs but about writing books like all together as one. So I thought that might be cool. So, but anyway, I hope you're having a great afternoon, day, or night, wherever you are. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to go down below and like and subscribe this video before you leave. It really helps me out. And I'll see you again next Friday in my next video. Bye!